Coming up, with early voting for the Texas primaries underway, we spoke with two political science professors to get an overview of the key races.
Even if you're just looking at the Republican or just looking at the Democratic ballots, there are a lot of folks, and it can be overwhelming.
Plus, how have the UTRGV colleges been affected after nearly 6 months with no proper replacement of its faculty senate?
And in KVAQ-Sports, we look into one of UTRGV Baseball's newest players for the spring season.
KVAQ-TV starts now.
Good morning, Vaqueros. I'm Dayton Trevino.
And I'm Perla Cortez. Today is Monday, February 23rd, and this is the 6th spring edition of KVAQ-TV.
Let's start today's newscast with our top story.
Early voting for the Texas primary elections began February 17th. Before you vote, you should know who's on the ballot. Here's multimedia journalist Ian Juarez with the story.
I'm here outside the Student Academic Center, where students on the Edinburgh campus can vote on the Texas primaries for candidates they want to see on the ballot in the upcoming November election. I spoke to two political science professors to get their opinion on some of the key races and candidates.
I would encourage, college students and UTRGV students to get involved and vote in their primary.
Early voting for Texas primary elections began for residents on February 17th. The primary election determines candidates for the general election to be held in November. Here are the leading candidates running for the primaries for each position. Candidates for Congressional District 34 for the Democratic Party are Vicente Gonzalez and Etienne Rosas. And for the Republican Party is Mayra Flores, Eric Flores, Scott Mandel, and others. For Congressional District 15 for the Democrat Party, the candidates are Bobby Pulido, Eric Cuellar, and Monica De La Cruz for the Republican Party. For the Senate, candidates of the Democratic Party are James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett, followed by Republican candidates John Cornyn, Ken Paxton, and Wesley Hunt. Candidates for governor are Bobby Cole and Chris Bell for the Democratic Party, and for the Republican Party, Greg Abbott and Pete Chambers. Political science professor Mark Caswan says District 34 is very competitive, adding that Eric Flores has more advertisement than Mayra Flores, who has more campaign funds.
This is actually a really curious case because Donald Trump has endorsed Eric Flores instead of Mayra Flores, which obviously she's very upset about. Gonzalez has a very strong advantage in this campaign. He is the incumbent member of Congress here, so incumbency always carries a lot of advantages, a lot of name recognition, so people know who he is. They kind of know what they're getting with him.
Assistant Professor of Political Science Alvaro Corral says District 15 will be an interesting race, with Bobby Pulido being a former Tejano music star.
My understanding is, that his campaign is very much, helped by his name recognition through his fans, especially that it's, he's of course very popular as a Tejano music star here in South Texas for many years. Another person in the race is Ada Cuellar. Ada Cuellar, doesn't necessarily have the name recognition that someone like a celebrity like Bobby Pulido does, but, she, I think is in the medical field, and she's practices, I think, in Harlingen, and she's also recently gotten her law degree. They're both seeking to, dislodge the current incumbent Republican Veronica de la Cruz. And so, I think that's going to be also another potentially close race.
Caswan says how the Republican Senate race is one of the most exciting in the country right now, calling attention to the tight race between Paxton and Cornyn.
Actually upset some of the more conservative Republicans, people who are more, let's call them, on the extreme right wing, because he supported bipartisan legislation that would place some fairly limited gun control type programs in place. And he supported that, partly in response to the shootings in Uvalde and other shootings that have been happening around the country. And I was looking at some of the polling numbers, and Paxton is actually doing quite well, and may beat Cornyn at least initially.
Caswan mentions Paxton's past legal trouble when he faced impeachment by House General Investigating Committee after supposed corruption in 2023, but was acquitted at the end of his trial.
unknown element in the race is Wesley Hunt, who is fairly popular congressman out of Houston, who has served for some time, and he's sort of what we call a dark horse.
Corral says the governor election is going to be a tough race for incumbent Greg Abbott's opposition.
Governor Abbott is going up for his record number of years as Texas governor, were he to complete his next term in office. So it's going to be a really tough order, I think, for Gina Hinojosa. I think what Governor Abbott would probably worry about for his side would be that if it's just a really bad year for Republicans, that maybe the Republican brand, even for him, would not do enough to sort of salvage him. The polls suggest that Governor Abbott is favored, but she can try her best to run a solid campaign.
Corral says students should vote as the governor has a lot of sway in the state, in legislature, and being able to influence higher education. For students wanting to vote in the primaries, voting locations can be found on the Edinburgh campus, at the Student Academic Center, and at the Student Union on the Brownsville campus. The last day for early voting is February 27th. For KVAQ-TV in Edinburgh, Ian Juarez.
A message from President Guy Bailey announced the dissolvement of UTRGV's Faculty Senate in accordance to Senate Bill 37 in September of last year. As of the airing of this newscast, no authority has formed to take its place since then, despite the conclusion of another UT System Board of Regents meeting. Have the university's colleges been affected by this decision? Reporter Victor Ortega reached out to several deans to learn more.
I think we have sufficient representation of the faculty in the college to address their concerns locally.
Colleges are continuing to meet with faculty, staff, and students to voice their needs and concerns in the absence of a faculty senate. College of Engineering and Computer Sciences Dean Robert Freeman says he has not heard any updates on the Senate's replacement. Despite this, Freeman says the College of Engineering and Computer Sciences has a committee of its own, and members meet on a regular basis, providing representation at a college level.
We have a college advisory committee or advisory group that is comprised of 2 members from each of the 6 departments in the college.
Freeman says the committee, which has been in place since the days of UT Pan American, helps faculty with concerns on matters such as classes, research, and student projects. He adds he met with the group in January and is expected to meet them again in March.
The College of Fine Arts follows similar steps. In a statement by Dean Jeffrey Ward to KVAQ-TV, he says the college also hosts meetings with its community members. Ward adds college and department-level committees are very important in addressing issues and hearing the prospects of the community. For KVAQ-TV in Brownsville, Victor Ortega.
KVAQ-TV reached out to Vice President of University Marketing and Communications, Patrick Gonzalez, to learn of any updates on the Faculty Senate, but were unable to schedule an interview this week.
This week in KVAQ Sports, we highlight one of baseball's newest players.
Hello, Vaqueros. My name is Jasmine Espinosa. Welcome to another edition of KVAQ Sports. A total of 8 division transfer players have joined the UTRGV Baseball roster this spring semester. One player is leading the team as a graduate student.
New to the lineup but not to baseball, graduate senior shortstop Diego Viescas is one of the newest Vaqueros to join the team this spring semester. Viescas says his goals are playing better and winning conference all the way.
Obviously winning conference, going to regional, but, limit the errors. Haven't been hitting too good, so obviously want to pick that up. But, yeah, just as a team, just want to win conference, make a regional, and, do everything I can to help my team win.
After 5 years of playing college baseball, Viescas has played for the University of New Orleans, Hill College, and the Valley League in Virginia. Viescas graduated from FAR San Juan Alamo ISD in 2021 and says returning to play at UTRGV after all these years feels like home.
Just being home, and with there being a lot of returners, it was pretty easy to, just know that there was that chemistry there. But yeah, all the guys, you know, we all get along super well. I mean, it's all one big family. But yeah, it was really easy to, you know, come in. That felt welcomed as soon as I stepped on here.
He says an important role in being a shortstop is keeping constant communication with his team members.
Hyping up my pitchers when I'm out there, constantly talking to, you know, my second baseman, third, you know, with the shifts and all that. Talking to my outfielders, you know, if our coach is trying to get their attention, you know, I'm the one, you know, telling them where they need to go.
Head coach Derek Madlock says the team is well adjusted.
There's no more adjusting. They're baseball players, they're blue-collar kids, and they want to go get it, and they want to compete.
Switching tracks, head coach for women and men's track and field, Cherie Hicks, says the team is excited and ready to rally the Valley in its upcoming Southland Conference Indoor Championships.
Despite the championship competition being indoors, the teams have been training outdoors since September. Hicks says what stood out to her during the indoor season for both men and women's track and field is the togetherness. She says the teams are able to stand behind one another and uplift one another with the atmosphere of a positive team.
A successful weekend for the UTRGV track and field team would be each and every person, number one, supporting one another, but number two, just showing up and being who they are. Everybody on this team, what they have, their talent is enough to win a championship. So if they go in there and they believe that and they show up and they're their best selves, I'll be a very, very proud coach.
The Vaqueros will host a 2-day Southland Conference Indoor Championships this Wednesday and Thursday at the Birmingham Crossplex in Birmingham, Alabama.
After the Southland Conference Championships, both teams will look towards its NCAA Championships in March. That's all for KVAQ Sports. Dathan, Pearl.
Well, that's also a wrap for this week's edition of KVAQ-TV. Thanks for watching, Vaqueros.
Catch our next newscast at 8:30 a.m. Monday, March 2nd on VCast monitors and select social media. For KVAQ-TV, I'm Dathan Trevino.
And I'm Perla Cortez.
Visa, Vaqueros!